Good morning. Quick update. I have finished version 1.5 of One Nil. This is the EGE soccer management game that I completed yesterday and did a little tutorial on. I have since played some more as I created teams and played some games. I have further refined and made sure I added clarifications to the rules. So you can, the original document's here. Of course, the updated document is here for those who are following along with this soccer game that I have been working on. So in a way, I'm kind of providing it as I play test it and as I refine it. So again, like many of my rule books, some of these are they're very much text heavy, meaning you've got to read the rules. I don't number the rules necessarily, etc. Some games I do, but this being a free kind of working document, I'm not too concerned about filler language, and I'm not too concerned about it being table of contents, etc. But with that said, I further refined and highlighted some things to make things more clear on how the paradigm algorithm works. And then, of course, I also later in the document, I also fixed a few typos, etc. I further define maximum coins. So a team maxes out at 54 coins. So as you, if you are actively going to spend coins for every team in your universe, at some point teams will max out at 54 coins, regardless of the quality of their talent. Because remember, the former your players. You can have the high-priced Form 5 players that don't have a rating. Those are guys that you want to retire and get the hell off your team or off the teams as fast as possible. Those are high-priced old veterans that just don't contribute anymore, right? But my point is, max is 54. So once teams get to 54 coins spent, they cannot improve. They can only improve by cutting. They can only improve by risking future coins to create new players that they would want to then cut to replace a player. So you will never have all 15 of your players at a 5 form. They'll always have some holes somewhere, right? So all you're going to be able to do then is spend coins to randomly create new players that could or could not improve your team despite the amount of coins invested in them. All right. Obviously, if you roll up tier 5 teams, your minimum coins will be 2. So yes, you could have teams as low as 2 coins in talent. And of course, as you start and work your way up, you should eventually build a team through your career that should fit into these tiers but winning is what determines where your team would place in these leagues. But obviously, at some point, you might have built your team into a 54 value team. So good luck. Anyway. So then what I've really done here is add game notes, rulings, clarifications, and tables. So this just walks you through again in a way after you've read through the rules and kind of understand it. It kind of reiterates some things, clarifies some things, and points a finger on most important things. So it's a reiteration to some of what you may have already read through. So you can't really start here to learn the rules, but this will reiterate things where there might be some confusion. Also, how you roll up the players to create your players. That's all in text. I decided to put a table to show how that works. So this is the visual representation of how you create players, as opposed to the text in which I explain how to create players. Here I just flat show you on a table when you roll the dice what your players rated. Right? Okay. Also, I reiterate pregame injuries. I touch on this in the rules, but here I further define how the pregame injuries work. Also, I talk about the turn sequence algorithm and how you can have multiple actions depending on the form of each team's players. You could conceivably have multiple goals, saves, yellow cards, corner kicks happen on one roll of the dice for both teams. You could have one team score 3 goals on one roll of the dice. You could have both teams score multiple goals. But they all have to share the same form. And because once the highest form acts on that die roll, that's it. Anybody behind them cannot act on that. So this is why I say having a Form 5 player is huge, because when you have a Form 5 player, and I roll a 5 on the turn sequence, that Form 5 player, if he has a 5 positioning, he steals control of the ball. He holds control of the ball until that's resolved. And if there's no other Form 5 players on the pitch, that's it. Turn over. We roll for the second turn. If I have a lot of Form 3 players and you have a lot of Form 3 players, all of those Form 3 players will act on that die roll of 5. But if a Form 4 player acts on it, then all of our 3s don't get to act on it, right? So this is why you want Form 5 players, because you get control of the ball and you would love to have more Form 5 players with lots of dynamic numbers. And eventually you're going to see the Premier League teams with lots of Form 5 players with dynamic numbers against teams with Form 5 players with dynamic numbers. And all of those Form 5 players act on the ball on every turn. So if I have 5 Form players and you have 5 Form players, they're all going to get to look at that number and act on it, right? So the more powerful the teams become, the more every turn you're going to be looking at multiple players for every roll of the dice. So better teams have so much more going on one die roll. Poor teams literally might only act on let's say a team with only 2 Form players, a team that has 1 player with a Form 2 and another player with a Form 2 against a team with Form 1s, right? If those 2 Form 2 players can't act on that number, then the other team gets to look at all their 1s to act on that number, right? But you could have a team with a 2 Form player and another team with 2 1s, and that's only 3 players that can act on any die roll, on any given turn. You're going to go through those games very quickly. But when you get to the Premier League, and you might have 10 players on the pitch with 5 Form on each team, you're going to go through all 20 players are going to filter through that die check. Now, obviously, if you roll a 12, you're going to glance at your team, and you know to only look at the 12s. You don't look at every player. You're just going to look at the guys who have a 12, right? If you roll a 3, you're going to look at all the guys who have a 3. That's it. So all you're doing is looking at which players have that number. And then what does that mean? Is it a shot on goal? Is it a save? Is it a stop? Is it a corner kick? Etc. So pretty cool. Again, I've said it before. It's for a game that you just roll 2d6 and check one number. It is my most elegant and dynamic and truly, ironically, creates a remarkable experience. But anyway, version 1.5 is here for those who are interested in a soccer management game, or at least seeing how I'm making an advanced version. Again, in the booklet, I give a tutorial on how to make a quick team soccer game. Here, we're breaking it down into teams that will have 15 players on their rosters, and how all those players affect play, and then how you earn coins to purchase a gamble at earning better players, because it's a gamble. I could spend 5 coins to try to add a 5-coin player to Arsenal, and I end up rolling no grade. So I could have a guy who's worth 5 coins and has no ratings. And I'm going to want to cut that guy the next chance I get, right? He'd be stuck on my team worth 5 coins and cannot contribute. And the only way I'm going to be able to get rid of him is to spend 5 coins to cut him, right? So you say, well, that just cut him. No. You have to spend the coins to replace him, which means to cut him, and you cannot have 25 players on a roster. So if I have a 5 guy with no rating, I'm going to have to collect 5 coins before I can even replace him, because you're not going to replace him with 5 1s or 2 3s or 3 and a 2. You have to replace him with another 5. So having a 5 player that has no grade or just 1 grade or whatever could be a huge, think of it as a contract that has to be eliminated, like a salary cap. So, all right, everybody, have a wonderful week. Anyway, the more I work on this game and the more I play it, the more I realize the absolute infinite, with just a 2d6 window and an array of numbers, for an infinite games and infinite outcomes for your soccer team over the course of your career, or even your league. If you're going to manage every team in the league and have them all spend coins to improve and work, You could just create the other teams and work up the tiers and ignore them when they win or lose. Don't worry about managing their coins and just do your own team. But if you want to have a team with friends or whatever, everybody has coins. They can make changes to their teams. But the more I play with this engine, the more I'm flabbergasted at the possibilities. So anyway, thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great week. Bye-bye.